Hey, everybody. Hope you are doing well. I'm feeling pretty good because I got my Bruins Pooh Bear jersey, finally. Jumped through so many stinking hoops to get this thing because NHLShop.com screwed me over. There's a video I ranted about it. I'm not going to continue. I'm just going to let it go, although I will hold the grudge against NHLShop.com. Doesn't really matter. But since this showed up today, I want to listen to a song that I've always loved. It is off of King's X album, Black Like Sunday, and it's a song called Johnny. This is a song I love to hear them do this live. I'm not going to say it's in my top 5 King's X songs of all time, but solidly within my top 15 for sure. It's kind of hard for me to really narrow it down because I love them so much. It's a longer song. It's a little bit over 11 minutes long. Ty Tabor's guitar tone is incredible. I mean, there's such a wonderful use of space and you know, there's some tempo changes in here, and the band just really, really knocked this one out of the park in the studio, and they do every time they play it live too. So without further ado, song Johnny off of the Black Like Sunday album by King's X. So the song is basically about the simultaneous desire and yet dangers of conforming in a way. And that's something this band has never done. That's why they have found major success fleeting in a lot of ways, because they've always done what they wanted to do the way that they want to do it. And over the years, I mean, they had a moment. They had a moment back around the Faith, Hope, Love, Dogman, King's X album. It's like their third, fourth, and fifth albums. Right in there, they had some momentum going. They played the Woodstock Festival in, I believe, '93, and there was real potential there. And then, of course, the inevitable contractual issues with record labels and management screwed things up and put them sidelined and, took them away. But they've never been able to fit neatly into a box for the record labels to promote and what have you. Now, the positive, of course, is they've had legions and legions and legions of fans who will go see them every single time they play. God knows I will. And a song like this, some people with a passive ear might go, oh, it's dragging on. Why the heck did they play it for 11 minutes? Because they wanted to, because they were jamming in the studio and it came out that way. And a record label would have said, okay, we're going to, fade that out after 4 minutes because that's long enough. And the band would not have released the exploration that we get in those last, 6 minutes or so of the song. And the power that you have by not conforming and not doing what everybody else wants you to do is you have a freedom to fully express yourself. And they seem to have done that quite nicely. And again, that's part of the reason why they have their legions of fans, people who will follow them and go see them every time and buy their new albums and what have you. There is a huge, great appreciation for artistry that isn't fully appreciated by the masses, even though people out there will be like, oh, this is the greatest thing on the planet. Well, is it? Or were you sort of mind tripped into thinking that because everybody else is sitting there saying, this is the greatest thing on the planet? Well, yeah, there's money behind it. There's a purpose behind it. I don't care whether you're talking about, no, I shouldn't say what I was about to say, so I'm not going to. Basically, a lot of popular artists are produced into having these nice, neat 3.5 minute long hits that get played everywhere because they're danceable and they fit neatly into a box and they can be labeled up and they can put out a 3.5 minute long video with people shaking their asses and doing what people think is a good time. Doesn't necessarily lead to the greatest artistic expression. I had that conversation on one of these videos not terribly long ago about the difference between playing to a click track on a previous King's X song based around loop recordings and playing to an actual band playing in fluctuating tempos ever so slightly. So again, it is more organic. And overproduced music drives me up the wall. And what I mean by that is, computer generated, piecemeal together little parts. I mean, do you know how easy it is? I'm not saying it's easy to write a hit. This is not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you can play a riff for 8 seconds, copy and paste it and repeat it several times. All of a sudden you've got a 3.5 minute long song that you just have to come up with a few other parts to go over and write some relatively unimportant, uninspired lyrics, put it out there at a particular volume, have the right image on the download screen, and voila, 4 million downloads. It's the biggest album of the year. It's a popularity contest on the Grammys or whatever it is. And I look at it and I go, wow. I mean, think about it this way. It's 2023 right now, right? What chances do you think the Bohemian Rhapsody would have been allowed to be released by a record label in 2023? Do you think Freebird would have been put on the radio in 2023? How about Stairway to Heaven? All of the Wall or Dark Side of the Moon? 5, 6, 7 minute long songs do not make it today. People don't play them. Please show me an artist driven 5.5 to 10 minute long song that gets played on the radio or on streaming services regularly today that has an impact, that is played by musicians, not by a computer. It's not how people package things these days. I'm not saying those recordings aren't out there. I think there are plenty of artists who do those recordings. They don't get pushed because they don't fit neatly in between the commercials that advertisers want to promote you on. And so I understand fully why, today people think back to, the 60s and 70s and even early 80s as sort of the heyday of rock music, if nothing else, because the artistry, you're talking about the advent of FM radio. Everything was before that was AM radio. So the FM radio frequencies allowed, because again, it was just being explored, there was space there. It wasn't so commercialized at that point. So, what's the old story about the song Working Man by Rush? The program director in the Cleveland, Ohio radio station that first really pushed it on the air was simply looking for the longest song on the album that they got so that they could have time to go do a bathroom break before putting another song on. Literally, the explosion and popularity of the band Rush has to trace itself back to a program director looking for a song long enough for a bathroom break. Flash forward to, 2020, and we can sit here and put out a playlist of, 8 songs, start playing them, walk off, have a conversation for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, come on back, never tell the audience what they were listening to because all we got to do is Shazam it. And then you put on 15 minutes of commercials about, car dealerships and insurance companies and ambulance chasing lawyers. I am rambling on, and I apologize for that. I know this video is probably about 20 minutes long as it is right now because the song was 11 and a half. But all these are the thoughts that go through my head when I'm doing these videos for you all. And I'm thinking to myself, I love these songs, and you will rarely hear half of them, if ever hear half of them, on any form of, broadcast servicing, radio or streaming or whatever it is, unless you go looking for them or, some idiot like me decides to give you a 20-minute video on an 11-minute song and rambling on about the BS that is commercial radio and the recording industry. Anyway, I've spun off on another tangent, and I do apologize for that. Please, thank you first for watching this all the way through. If you made it this far, you're a wonderful person. And please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. I'm sure we can talk about it further if you want to. I appreciate you all, and I wish you all well. Take care.